Okay, so let's now discuss basic string operations. So basic operations you can do on strings. You probably have already seen them. So one is concatenation and one is multiplication by integer. And I think it's better to look at the examples. So basically this is the same thing we did in the introduction course, but now we do it in a script. So basically to concatenate two strings you can use plus operator, and to use strings together with plus operator you need two strings, and then what happens, Python just merges them together. So yeah, let's run this example, and the first output here, print, should be the full name of this. So full name is the result of concatenating name and surname variable. So James plus Bond should be equal to James Bond. Let's maybe for now delete this text, this part, so that we are focused on the concatenation part. So this script is called basic operations. We have to switch to chapter 2 in our terminal. So Python 3 basic operations. So as you can see, I get James Bond, right? If I add something else here, James Bond, no time to die, for instance, then if I run it, then I get James Bond, no time to die. Okay, and now multiplication. So multiplication, if we want to repeat the string number of times, then we can just multiply it by a number, and this will be and we will get the default string this many times as we specified. So here in this example we can see that we have a string high exclamation mark space. This space is actually important. It's not necessary here, but you can see that if I use this space here, then Python repeats 4 characters, string with 4 characters 10 times. So after each high and exclamation mark, I have a space. If I remove this space here, I will get a string which has no space inside, because Python just repeats a string which has 3 characters, a large H, I, and exclamation mark. So depending on what behavior you want to get, you might decide to either use spaces or not. Okay, so this is a quick recap of basic operations you can do on strings. In the next video, we will use these examples to learn a new function which you haven't seen so far, most likely, namely the input function, which is actually very useful when we are dealing with scripts, because this function allows you to take input from a user of a script, of a program. It might be you, but it might be also someone else. So for instance, you may prepare a script which your colleague will use. This is usually a work of programmer, but most of the time when you are developing code, you are yourself a user of this code, either for testing purposes or for other purposes. So don't get lost if I say user will input something, and then if I input it myself, it's just to show you that I'm doing this from other perspective, and usually you will do the same when working with your code. Okay, so yeah, that's all about basic operations, and see you in the next video when we will talk about input function. See you there.